May 27th, 4 a.m. The Gulf of Aden is dead quiet. No wind, no stars, just black water stretching to the horizon. And somewhere out there, 200 armed men who thought tonight was their night. They were wrong. What they didn't know was that the United States Navy had been watching them for 9 weeks. Every call they made, every boat they fueled, every weapon they touched, all of it had been mapped, logged, and fed into a targeting system 300 feet below the surface of the same ocean they thought they controlled. Tonight wasn't a hijacking. Tonight was a spring trap. And when a trap is set by the most powerful navy on the face of the earth, the prey doesn't get a second chance. This is the story of Operation Untitled. The night the ocean swallowed a ghost army whole. Act I. The bait is taken 4:12 a.m. The MV Adriatic Pioneer was a mid-sized container vessel, flagged American, running scheduled cargo between Djibouti and Muscat. On paper, she was unremarkable. In reality, she was a carefully constructed lure. Her crew a mix of real merchant mariners and 4 embedded Navy SEALs from DevGru, operating under commercial cover. At exactly 4:12 a.m. on May 27th, the Adriatic Pioneer was intercepted by 17 skiffs moving in a disciplined pincer formation from the northeast. This wasn't random piracy. The attack pattern, the timing, the radio coordination, all of it bore the hallmark of professional military training. These men had been coached. The assault was fast and calculated. Within 6 minutes, grappling hooks were over the rails, armed boarders were on deck, and 3 crew members were forced to their knees. The pirates moved with a confidence that comes from believing you are untouchable. But 15 seconds after the first boot hit the deck, a silent signal had already left the ship. A modified emergency transponder, disguised as a standard SOLAS beacon, transmitted a compressed burst signal to a U.S. Navy WGS satellite orbiting 22,000 miles overhead. The message was 3 words in encrypted shorthand: Phase 3. Execute. Can you even imagine that moment? 200 pirates celebrating on deck, toasting their easy victory, completely unaware that they had just pulled the trigger on themselves. Act 2. The Hunter's Wake, 4:14 a.m. 93 nautical miles to the southeast, aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt, the Combat Direction Center shifted in an instant from monitoring to war. The signal hit the screens of Strike Group Commander Rear Admiral Dana Mercer at 4:14 a.m. She looked at the blinking red icon on the tactical display for exactly 2 seconds. Then, without raising her voice, she said, "All stations, Iron Tide is live. Weapons free on designated targets." The strike group didn't scramble. It erupted. Below the waterline, USS Connecticut, a Seawolf-class submarine running silent at 400 feet, received its targeting package and immediately began weapons preparation. 2 Mark 48 ADCAP torpedoes were loaded and flooded. 4 Tomahawk Block V cruise missiles were spun up with terminal coordinates already locked. A fuel depot, a command relay station, a weapons cache, and a communications hub, all ashore at the pirate network's coastal stronghold. On the surface, the destroyer USS Nitsa lit up its systems and went to general quarters. An MH-60R Seahawk lifted from the flight deck into the pre-dawn darkness, its FLIR pod painting the ocean in thermal white, feeding live footage to the strike group's tactical AI overlay. In the air, already invisible at 42,000 feet, a B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, call sign Ghost Actual, had been orbiting since midnight. Its weapons bay held 4 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, not for this mission, but as a standing deterrent in case the Ghost network had deeper infrastructure than the intelligence teams had mapped. They had planned for everything. If you were the commander at that moment, 200 armed men ahead of you, the full firepower of the U.S. Navy behind you, what would your first order be? Think about it. Every second counts, and every decision can cost lives. Act 3. First Blood, 4:51 a.m. At 4:51 a.m., USS Connecticut fired. 4 Tomahawk cruise missiles broke the surface of the Gulf of Aden in a burst of white foam and climbed to cruise altitude. They flew low, terrain following, sea skimming, covering the 61 nautical miles to the coast in under 9 minutes. No radar detected them. No warning was issued. At 5 a.m. exactly, the pirate network's command and logistics node, a hardened compound outside the port of Bargal, ceased to exist. The first missile detonated directly inside the generator building, knocking out communications. The second and third struck the weapons storage and the armored vehicle bay simultaneously. The fourth, carrying a thermobaric warhead, hit the command center itself. The shockwave was felt by fishing boats 6 kilometers offshore. Ashore, approximately 40 network support personnel and senior commanders were eliminated in under 4 seconds. The financial backer who had funded the entire operation, a mid-level intelligence asset operating through shell companies in 3 countries, was confirmed dead in the first strike. The head of the snake was gone before the body even knew it was dying. At sea, the Adriatic Pioneer was still in pirate hands. But that was about to change. Does that give you chills? For missiles, 9 minutes. An entire pirate command network erased before sunrise. That's not war. That's surgery, performed from the bottom of the ocean. Act 4, the boarding 5:08 a.m. 3 MH-60 or Seahawks came in low off the port bow of the Adriatic Pioneer, running without lights. Aboard the lead helicopter, 16 operators from SEAL Team 6 and Naval Special Warfare Development Group were locked in, full kit, suppressed weapons, night optics. They had rehearsed this exact scenario 11 times over the previous 8 weeks. They knew the ship's layout down to the placement of fire extinguishers. At 5:08 a.m., the first fast rope hit the deck. The 4 embedded SEALs already on board had spent the previous 56 minutes tracking pirate positions via concealed sensors stitched into their merchant clothing. When the assault team came down the ropes, they didn't need to search. They had a real-time map. The fight lasted 4 minutes and 19 seconds. 14 pirates were taken into custody. 6 who raised weapons were neutralized. The pirate leadership, 3 men who had boarded with radios and sidearms expecting a ransom negotiation, found themselves zip-tied to the ship's own railing before they understood what was happening. The 3 hostage crew members were recovered unharmed. They were sitting in the galley, drinking coffee one of the embedded SEALs had made them by 5:14 a.m. Meanwhile, on the water, the USS Nitsa and its attached Coast Guard Law Enforcement Detachment moved to intercept the remaining skiff fleet. 12 boats were seized. Naval gunfire, 2 rounds of warning from the Nitsa's 5-inch deck gun, was enough to stop the rest. The sound of that gun at dawn carries a very specific message. Nobody ran. Act V. The intelligence wore 6:30 a.m. The shooting was over by 6 a.m. But the real operation was just beginning. Aboard the USS Theodore Roosevelt, a specialized exploitation and analysis team, 16 personnel from NSA, DIA, and Naval Intelligence went to work on the material recovered from the pirate command skiff. What they found was not what they expected from pirates. The skiff's captain had been carrying a ruggedized military-grade tablet, not commercially available and not manufactured in Somalia. Its encrypted partition held communication logs, target coordinates, and a financial ledger running through 4 intermediary accounts before terminating in a state banking system. The analysis took less than 2 hours. By 8:30 a.m., Rear Admiral Mercer was looking at a network map that extended well beyond the Horn of Africa. This pirate force hadn't just been funded. It had been directed, given intelligence on American shipping patterns, coached on anti-boarding tactics, and supplied with weapons that included Russian-origin anti-tank rounds and shoulder-fired surface-to-air missiles. These were not fishermen with guns. Someone had built a proxy force and sent it against American assets in one of the world's most critical commercial waterways, the lane through which 12% of global oil trade flows every single day. How do you think the enemy reacted when they realized that not only had their forces been wiped out, but their identities, their finances, and their entire secret communication network had been sitting in American hands all along? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This is exactly the kind of power most people never get to see. In a capital city far from the Gulf of Aden, a senior official received a 3-line report on a secured terminal at 9 a.m. local time. He read it once, closed the screen, then issued a single instruction to his staff: erase the financial trails. The network never existed. It was too late. The Americans already had everything. Act 6, The Reckoning, 11 a.m. By 11 a.m. on May 27th, Operation Iron Tide was complete. The final count, 41 pirates captured and transferred to coalition custody for prosecution. The Adriatic Pioneer was underway again under her own power, escorted by the Nitsa. The coastal stronghold at Bargal had been reduced to rubble by precision fires. The Ghost Network, 9 weeks in the making, had been dismantled in under 7 hours. The B-2 Spirit flew home without releasing a single weapon. It didn't need to. Across the Horn of Africa, the effect was immediate and total. Smuggling channels that had been active for years went silent within 48 hours. 3 separate piracy cells operating in the region stood down their operations, their leadership having watched, through their own intelligence networks, as Bargal burned. The maritime underworld didn't need an official statement. They had seen the message written in smoke and precision fire. In the cold debrief room aboard the Roosevelt, a young intelligence analyst who had been awake for 31 hours leaned back in his chair and looked at the now quiet network map on the screen. 9 weeks of surveillance, he said quietly, and they never knew we were there. Rear Admiral Mercer looked up from her coffee. That's how it's supposed to work. Operation Iron Tide wasn't a battle. It was a demonstration. A demonstration that American military power isn't just missiles and aircraft carriers. It's patience. It's 9 weeks of silence before 7 hours of thunder. It's 4 SEALs drinking coffee with rescued sailors before the enemy even realizes the assault has begun. Somewhere out there, in offices with no windows and conversations that never get recorded, someone learned that lesson on May 27th. And the ships kept moving. The oil kept flowing. And the Gulf of Aden stayed quiet. Because quiet, when the United States Navy is watching, is the only smart option. The sea doesn't forgive, and neither does the nation that commands it. Now it's your turn. If you were the pirate commander on that ship, at what exact moment would you have realized the trap had already been sprung, and what would you have done differently? And do you believe the state actor behind this network truly thought they could challenge American resolve on open water? Or was this always a piece they were willing to sacrifice? Drop your answers below. The sharpest minds always show up in the comments when the stakes are this real.